Hello, Clay. My tongue twisted. Hello, Kaylee. Alright. So I'm just setting up. So these are the cards we're going to be coloring today. Hello, random cool persons. So here's the next wave. Wave 3 of my Marvel ACEOs. So here we got Spider-Man, a little headshot here. And I got the backs ready. I just got to sign them. But I like to sign them at the end. We'll save that. That's how I feel like we're finishing it when I do that. Prowler. We got a headshot here. The Chameleon. Spider Carnage. And Doppelganger Spider-Man. So these will end up being on my eBay account. Hello, Caramel Girl. So first I'll color them. They'll be going on eBay for $15, and we'll see how that goes from there. Where's my marker? Alright, so here we are, starting off. I'm drinking an energy drink, so hopefully I come to life a little bit. I had a headache earlier, but I think it's gone away. So that's great. I'm just gonna get a little darker red under here. I'll just zoom in.
Major summer deals are here. When you can try everything, summer can be anything.
I wanted to go live yesterday, but I fell asleep. I was so exhausted. I mailed out the lizard card. That was like my favorite one so far. And it was like the first one I had to send out. And that's the first time I ever really sent, first time I ever sent anything out on eBay. So hopefully that goes smoothly. For anyone who's also just dropping in, I do comic books. I have a free to read comic series. As for these ACEOs, I'm doing these on eBay. I'm a sketch artist with Dynamite Comics, so I do little sketch cards and sketch covers. So I will be going live more often now that the school year is over. I'm gonna try to do lives like every day. Now here's the thing though, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing them mainly on YouTube or TikTok. I think I kind of want to work both avenues. I really wanted to grow my YouTube a little bit more, but I don't know. I haven't really. I don't want to sound like I'm giving up on YouTube, but lately YouTube's been kind of dry on my lives. So, but also I think I just want to let my TikTok crowd see what I'm working on. With these projects. So here's the thing. Yes, every day. So I used to do lives every single day on TikTok, but then with work I have a morning schedule, so I can't do that. So then my lives ended up just being on the weekends. But now we are on summer break, and so I'm gonna try to be able to do my lives more frequently and take advantage of that. And I have a couple of ideas of different things we could be doing on these lives. For example, I know I want to do one live on TikTok where I show them some cards, coloring cards, or you know what? I think I'll do one of each. I think I'll ink some of the ACOs that I have. I'll ink some of them on TikTok one day, and then another day I'll color ones. So then you probably won't see me color it if you're a YouTube live only person, but I will be clipping them and posting them, so you'll still see it. You just won't be seeing it live probably if you don't attend that. Not that you have to or anything, but as you can see, I have a a long way. I have a lot of Marvel ones that I kind of did pencils for, and so definitely one of these could be inked there. At some point, I definitely want to ink another batch of 5 here on YouTube, and I also want to do some work on my Stain of the Forgotten card set, which is the medieval stuff. Do some of that on a TikTok live, and also do some of that another round here. I'm also thinking what I could probably do. Sometimes on TikTok, I'll do a critique live, and so I'll do that one of these days on TikTok. But I'm also thinking maybe we could do that on YouTube as well. But I don't think I have as big a viewer on YouTube here. So how that works is on our Discord, the Graveyard Comics Discord. When I announce that I'm doing a critique live, you'll post some artwork that you want critiqued in the general art channel, and then you'll just write something like critique, just so I know to do that. And then maybe an hour before the live, I'll copy it and bring it into Photoshop, and then I will hopefully you guys are in attendance when I go over your artwork, and give my critique and say what we could probably fix up, or any thoughts on that. So we will see. I'll try to do both angles, and I'll see whoever is giving me the most followers is probably where I'm gonna kind of go. So if TikTok gives me more followers, I'll probably prioritize them. If YouTube gives me more followers, I might prioritize them. I don't know. The social media stuff is a little tricky, it's like doing it all myself. I have to be the artist, I have to be the writer, I have to be my marketer, I have to be working on side quests like this to make a little side cash, and on top of that I have to figure out how these algorithms and stuff work. It's just a lot. All right, let's see. Paradise Pink, let's see how this works here. I'll read everyone's comments, just give me a second. I'll just kind of giving the rundown announcements for what's to come. I also want to make sure I blend these as I'm starting in the next color. Kind of want to put it in while it's still kind of wet. Whoa. is that I want to lay down those colors while the ink is still wet, so that way it kind of blends a little bit better. All right, let me just get that in. Pause. That sounded bad too. Okay, let's read the comments. I was about to draw something hero related, but I don't know what till I find a gesture pose or something, and then see what pops in my head. Or you could just do a whole bunch of gesture poses and see what you like. Juggling every day. I should work on my DC anti-hero. Yeah, maybe you could do them fighting. You can practice fight scenes, Caramel Girl. I remember when I first started, I would just often draw a lot of my characters just floating in space. But then I started like drawing fight scenes, and if you're doing comic books, you're gonna have to have these characters interact with each other at some point or another. Let's try this one. This one's a little darker. I've been juggling. Oh, another thing that I can do on a live. I've been working on my next batch of covers with Dynamite Comics. So maybe one of these lives, let's say we color today. Tomorrow I'll do maybe the stain cards, and then the next day I'll work on some of the Dynamite Comics covers. So we'll see. I'll dance around. So I kind of have ideas as far as like different content for these lives. And then that kind of double up, because then whatever I do on a YouTube live, I should do on a TikTok live. But I don't want to be dancing around too much, you know. I think I'll just stay on whatever seems most instantly gratifying. One thing I definitely need to do is I need to promote my own stuff a little bit more. So I'm like, I should do a day where I like draw Dead Liberty characters, but then part of me is like, for that I should just be working on Dead Liberty, like the actual comic. One thing I really got to do is I gotta get Blood Hunt like formatted for digital art. I mean, digital, what's that thing called? E-comics. So that way you can read it as a Kindle comic. That's what I need to do. I gotta put that like on my priorities list. I love kind of like blending the colors. When I first got like alcohol markers, I just like wasted like all my red on a Carnage drawing. I just did the whole thing like red and a little bit with dark red. And then I kind of did it like if I was coloring digitally, and I did like the dark red like on top of the red instead of did the darks first. I like to work with the darks first in areas I know for a fact are going to be heavier shadows, like you saw in the beginning when I did like under the chin. Yeah, Spidey. I think I'm liking this one. I also want to say I'm pleasantly surprised of my 10 ACOs between waves 1 and 2. I only have 4 left available for bidding. So the people want them. And there's certain characters where I'm not going to want to draw that character again for the sake of time, my own projects, and you know, and how long time, how much work and time I put into it. So like, for example, if you see a character that like I just did War Machine, I was dreading drawing him. I knew I wanted to do War Machine. I knew because I like War Machine, but I'm like, I'm only gonna do one freaking War Machine. If I do another one, it'll just be a headshot. And here he is. I'm not drawing this shit again. So if you want War Machine, you know, don't wait on it, because once it sells, I'm not drawing him again. But yeah, you know, I don't want to drive sales away from some of my other characters, but characters like Spider-Man, you know, Deadpool, if you miss out on those, I'll probably add more to those. But I definitely want to do more than Marvel characters. But right now it seems like Marvel is, people are liking the Marvel stuff, and Marvel is really easy for me to do. So the whole point of this is a side quest. This is me trying to make some side cash while I work on the main comics. And so I shouldn't be taking too much time on these. But I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of having fun, you know. I do like Marvel. And I know, like, I haven't drawn a lot of these Marvel characters in a long time, but it kind of makes me feel a little more like worth drawing the characters, you know, kind of like getting paid for them. And I feel like they kind of showcase my improvements over the years, as like 2016, I was drawing them all the time. And then here I am now, like 10 years later. And I guess also too, I like had a recently had a earlier this year a renewal and interest, and like, you know what, I do still love the Marvel stuff, you know, as well. How do you think that came out? Her outfit and robot minions. The fun thing about the robot minions is they can help frame the character too, in terms of like drawing it with the character. Definitely go bid. Speaking of bidding, I sign with a chisel Sharpie, but for my Patreon cards, I just opened this one up. I'm gonna be using the light green Sharpie. So my ACOs, I use dark green Sharpie. Okay, so let me grab some gray. Just for a little shadow on his eyes and the building behind him. Just a little bit, just a little touch. I think it just adds an extra dimension to it. Okay. Let's see, maybe I can use this one for this building here. Yeah, that looks nice. And I'll do, I think a light blue. I'll see if I color the sky in. See how I do that. Some blue, and we'll do this one blue too. Even though the sky's blue, I probably should have done that gray. It'll be fine. We'll just get a little gray on this part. Take a sip of my drink.
And restore the heart of Tefiti. And save us all.
And thank you, random cool persons. I'm glad you liked them. Biscuit the robot dog, Pow Pow the robo cat, and Echo the robo bat. I'm trying to remember if you've already designed the art. I'm pretty sure I remember seeing them, unless I'm hallucinating. I'm just trying to think. Do I want? Which way should I do the sky? Let's see. Let me get my blues ready. I think I'm gonna do light sky blue. Airy blue. Okay. And I'm doing this darker blue. For personal updates, I finished my class. I think I've mentioned. And still waiting on my degree to be awarded. And I finished my last test that I had to take. So I'm pretty much done with school. which is great because that means less homework, you know, things to take away time from my works, and I get to save money. All the money I make now, I get to keep instead of pay for college. And I've been paying out of pocket, so I'm not in debt. Well, I'm just like poor from that. So now I'm kind of like rebuilding now. They're rebuilding my funds and starting life act like a grown up, like a big boy now. It's a little scary, but I think money will make it nice. I start making some money. Okay, I'm gonna try to blend this in. Here we go. I'm working quick so I can get that blend. Don't want to wait too long. And I didn't go all the way up with the dark blue up in here, just explaining some of my thought process, maybe pick something up. And that will help me not lose that antenna. I put a little bit of blue in the clouds. Man, I love alcohol markers. I know this is only my first year using alcohol markers, but I really do love them, especially on cards this small, this small, because I don't feel like I feel like I get more mileage over it. You know, when I'm working on those covers, it kind of hurts because I feel like I'm killing my markers on like one cover. Okay. I'm just gonna try to mix my blues in. Let's go with this blue now. I'm actually gonna leave a space in here. I was looking at the sky today, actually. Oh, I think this would be good for underneath the cloud, like a nice shadow of the cloud. It kind of makes them look a little more three-dimensional, a little more fluffy, instead of just like these big flat white areas. I put a little underneath with this kind of color, this kind of shade of blue. I think that's how I'm going to start doing clouds from now on. I think that looks pretty cool. What do you think? I like that. Let's do it. Let's do that here. Okay, and I can leave that there. I do want to mix in this light blue real quick. And I'll mix that in here. But I was looking at the sky, and there's a lot of different colors in the sky. Also, by having so many different colors, it kind of distributes the work, so you don't just kill one marker, you know. But it also feels less flat, you know, than just one solid blue. Which most of these cards will have flat backgrounds, but for this one I was like, it'd be simple. Throw some clouds in there, a little skyline. And this is now the second one that I've added like a skyline for Spider-Man, and I think it kind of I feel like New York is just so integral to Spider-Man and his story. You just, when you think of Spider-Man, you think of New York City. As a New Yorker myself, I don't know, maybe I'm just a little romantic over it.
Super Spidey excited for Mega Rex's obstacle course. I'm gonna
right here. I'm almost done with the card. I definitely want this light blue here so you can see my signature. So I'm going to bring it up to there. Leave this area in here. And then I'm going to go in with a darker blue one more time just at the top. Is this dark enough? Like sky blue? I might even want to mix it a bit darker. Oops. Get some of that on the back. And I kind of want to fade that out. I feel like that's a little harsh of an edge. So with the colorless blender, I'll just hit the end there and try to fade that. I also missed this entire area here, so I'll get that too. I also accidentally went over this little bit of cloud with my marker. So I kind of have to just suck that up. If you make a mistake, you know, there's not much you can do about it. I'm kidding. You can always do something about it. So I have a mistake. So let's fix that mistake. We don't ever have to settle. Here I have a white ink pen. And I'm just going to put a little drop in there. And none the wiser. Unless you watch my videos, which I doubt people will. Let's get a little bit of gray. Where's that marker? Let's get a little bit of gray on the clouds just to add a little more dimension. Hello, Carlos, and thank you. I'm glad you like it. I will read the comments. I see Dave's in there. Hello, Dave. I'll read the comments in just a split second. I know I was kind of locked in for a second. I'm going to put some of that back in here. Ooh, that's blending in nice. I'll put some of that here just so your eye has something to look at. And just to finish off what you're looking at here. Bang. Oh, let's put a little more. I like it. This one's gonna sell, I know it. The ones I like are the ones that I have to give up. I feel like I'm giving away puppies, you know, when someone, when people bid for the ones that I like. Like the lizard, my favorite one had to go. It was the first to go. All right, let's read the comments. And I'm hold on, let me scroll to the top so I don't miss anyone's stuff. Okay. Okay, you did show me him. Okay, I knew I wasn't tripping. Cleanup duty one, maintenance buddy, and he cleans up the crime scene before anyone suspects a thing. I like that. Surveillance and intelligence, and she can fly through the air, act like a drone, and wealth Doppler. Another fitting name. What'd you get a major in or minor? So I got a major in art education for my master's, and for my bachelor's I got a major in digital art. I would have went studio, but my friend was like, you already mastered studio, you'd just be getting easy A's and you wouldn't learn anything. So you suck at digital art, so you should go and learn digital art because you're never gonna teach yourself this stuff outside of, you know, school. And everything's digital now. So I was like, shit, he's right. And only until like the end of that degree, and I felt like I was in there for a while, maybe like 6 years. I felt like, wait, not 6 years. I suck at math, but from 2018 was when I re-enlisted to go for my bachelor's to 2022. 2018 to 2022. By the end of that, I felt like I was finally starting to get the hang of the digital art stuff. And I think the only reason was for two reasons. One, I was approaching with an active, like with a different mindset and actually trying to learn. Where in high school and early college for my associate's degree, I was like, nah, I don't need this digital art stuff. I'll just draw good. They'll hire somebody or I'll hire somebody. But realistically, no matter how good you are traditionally, there is an element of digital art that you're going to have to do, whether it's, know how to basically navigate the core elements of Photoshop, or putting together a multi-page document. InDesign. You want to make a book. Well, the little bit that I knew, I was able to print books and stuff like that, and know how to change formats and stuff like that. Just little things. And so I felt like, one, I was going in with more open mind. I want to learn this time, and I was doing my own side notes and stuff in a little memo pad, writing down like shortcuts. And the second thing was the lockdown and everything being like digital, like what's it called? Asynchronous classes and stuff. Well, not asynchronous, just like Zoom classes and digital classes. I didn't think that was gonna happen, but I think that really helped me, because the teachers, the professors, they were recording the lessons and uploading them, so I could always rewatch it. I wasn't like sitting in the back of class where I'm like having to come up and see, and they move too fast, clicking on different things. By watching a recording, I was able to like slow it down. Whoa, what do you press? What was that? Okay. And the whole typography thing, I didn't get that till I was literally done with my last like class. I took like 3 typography, 1, 2, 3, book design, and I didn't get it till like literally towards the end. I was like, oh, I see it now. Like, it developed an eye for it. My brain just like gained a wrinkle, and it was a long journey. As far as all the schooling I've done, it's all something that's come back in some way, shape, or form. Love watching you blend the colors. Yeah, that's, I think, one of the most satisfying things about alcohol markers, and something that I was always very scared of, and maybe other people might feel this way too, but I was always very scared of coloring with markers, because I always pictured like Sharpies or Crayola, where you just fill in areas with color. With these type of alcohol markers, there's so many different ranges of color and blending, and it's very forgiving. If you maybe bleed out just a little bit, well, you can kind of blend it in, or use a colorless blender to kind of suck some of the color out of it. And as for like bleeding onto the other side, that's awesome. It's cool when it bleeds on the other side, because it proves that this is real. This is the original. And most of the time, you're not going to be drawing on the backside. The only time I can see that being an issue is if you want to be like coloring in a coloring book or something, and it's like art on both sides. Then you got to pick which one you want to color. Definitely deserve this, B-dubs. What's B-dubs? Those. What have I missed? Whatever you see here, this is all I've done so far. I colored 1. And thank you, random cool person. So I'm glad you also agree with Kaylee. I've been doing too much work. Keep forgetting about the lives. No, that's okay. There will be more lives as going forward. I'm going to try to do the lives like every day. Unless if I'm missing a live, I'm also probably doing it on TikTok. Unless I fall asleep or something. I was supposed to be live yesterday and make that big announcement, but my ass was... I was reading something on the back of my eyelids, and I got like too invested in that. B-dubs is short for Buffalo Wild Wings. Oh yes. Which, it's not even a buffalo, it's a bison. I like bisons. I think they look cooler than buffaloes. No offense to buffaloes. So I'm not complaining too much, because I like the logo. It's iconic. It's a bison. but it's not a buffalo, and it. All right, let's see who we're doing next. Let's do. Maybe Prowler might be quick since it's just a headshot, or let's do Prowler next. But I have all the reds and stuff out, so I can do like the other guy, the other Spider-Man looking dude. All right. I'm trying to remember what colors I used for Prowler. What purple I used for him when I did him the first time. Let me see what my colors. I think that was lavender I used. Pink lavender. Yeah, I think it's coming back to me. And lilac. Okay, let's throw out some ink. This is ink, right? Alcohol? What's coming out of this? Marker juice? Yeah, these are the colors I used. I almost want to use another purple just to get a little more extreme shadow. Lavender crystal, maybe. Let's see about that. Let's do it on the inside because that's going to be dark. Alright, yeah. I think this is the same colors I used last time. So let me get the deep shadows in first. Just so I also don't go over that with my light colors just to end up being super dark on top of it and kind of wasting color, really. But not only that, but it would blend with the color I'm adding and might even make it darker than it is and not as rich as leaving it on its own. You know, it would be like a tainted, or rather tinted version of whatever color I'm using for my darks. And I think you might be able to actually see what I was talking about, as I have to go over this area that I already put some blue, lighter purple.
Your calendar's all good news. With Chase Secure Banking, your direct deposit hits your bank account up to 2 days faster. So when your friends are like, and your bills go, you have the peace your deposit brings. And the best part, there's no monthly service fee for 17 to 24-year-olds. Thanks to Chase Secure Banking.
For Chase Secure Checking only, eligible direct deposits may be credited up to 2 business days early, depending on when the payer submits the transaction. Member FDIC.
Goodbye, random cool persons. Thank you for dropping by. Pow Pow the cat is like a robot attack dog. His name is short for Power Prowler, which is funny. I'm working on Prowler. When he fights his enemies, he analyzes their combat skills and threat levels. Alright, so he assesses kind of the threat before he goes in. So he doesn't just go blindly in. Very strategic. That Buffalo Wild Wings I had yesterday was amazing. I got regular buffalo sauce, and I also got um Asian zinger and jam and jalapeno. I love the jam and jalapeno. I always come back to that one. I think I like that flavor so much that I could just have jam and jalapeno and be happy. But myself, I like to have different flavors just so each bite tastes different. I did a workout yesterday, so I was just like protein. I was like just taking in just so much protein. I had boiled eggs for breakfast. I had a protein bar after I got off the treadmill, and then I had all that um, boneless wings. All right, with the darks purple out of the way, I could work a little more comfortably with the lighter ones. I get scared with the darks in case I mess up. This is actually my lighter color, so let's come back to that one. I know I want to do some watercolor on something just for myself. Maybe it could be a hobby thing. Maybe it can be more artwork, like concept art. Maybe my medieval stuff. Maybe I could do some of my medieval stuff, and they might lend themselves nice and forgiving to watercolor. Yeah, maybe like if I draw like a lizard person and then color them with like paint. I also kind of want to try something different this time. I kind of want to, instead of coloring with watercolor, painting over my inks, I kind of want to paint over pencil and then go with ink after and see how that works. Someone's probably like, you weren't doing that before? I don't know. Oh, look how that bleeds. Oh, that's great. I wonder how that's looking on the back. I had a feeling. It was bleeding a little too good. But that's okay. Like I said. Wait, I didn't write anything? Oh, I did. Part of me wants to talk about some of the other card ideas I have in mind as far as the ACEOs go. But part of me feels like I don't want to spoil it. I feel like someone's going to be like, oh, how many more Marvel ones he's got to do? I want to see him work on that thing. So, I don't know. And I mean, I can always come back to Marvel too. Well, definitely got to finish whatever ones I have drawn. Each robot represents a part of malware. These colors are part of her color scheme. That's really cool. So you've been like looking into like malware and stuff for inspiration? Or do you mean like specific more story to your made up elements? Or maybe a little bit of both. Okay, now we can bring out that other one. Oh, it's the character's name. Oh, right. That was my bad. We'll blend this in. Now, I don't want it to look too pink, so we'll kind of leave it at that. Let's get some of his cheek in here, just because that would be like a raised surface. And then I'll go in with my purple, or my pastel purple. Now, originally, I was going to make the background black, which is why I kind of outlined the entire little grave here this time, instead of leaving it open like I have been doing. So I could do this all black, but I was thinking, what if I make it green? Because his colors are purple and green, but we can't see the rest of his body. I kind of want to make it green. Also, it's like more colorful, right?
Together, let's drive. Visit Chevy.com/trucks to explore the lineup.
Let's get a little gray. I'm gonna do this kind of blue gray that I have. Just to not distract from the eye, but keep it, the reflections, or rather highlights. So I'm gonna get all these little speck looking areas, if you know what I mean, the little speck areas, little dot areas of white. And then these other areas that are kind of forming shapes, I'm kind of leaving those white. And anything kind of around the eye, I'm kind of putting some gray, just so I kind of have more white kind of isolated from the rest of it. I'll even bring the shadow out a little more for that reason, so these white highlights are not competing too much with the whites of his eyes. Maybe you should do Transformers next. I have a whole list. If I do Transformers though, I would only do like a few characters, because these are side quests. These are supposed to be things that I can draw. Done. I think I did this in 4 minutes for his face. I can't remember, or 2 minutes. I don't remember, but ideally it's supposed to be things like headshots and things I can draw quickly. But every once in a while, I'll like draw one that's like complex, simply for love of the game. Like this one was kind of complex. It wasn't the most complex one, but that War Machine that I was showing earlier, you know, that was for love of the game. I hope that ends up going for more in the bid, but if not, it's okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with green. We can save black for a different thing. Hello, quality of living. I'm sorry for reading so late. His colors are so pretty. She's analytical, always observant and innovative, but always paranoid and ready to fight if she feels like something's off. Caramel Girl, I think you'd really like. We're not up to it yet, but I have a character in Blood Hunt that I think you're really gonna like. I don't want to spoil too much of my own stuff, especially because that's Blood Hunt, and who knows when we'll get around to some of that stuff. She doesn't appear too late, but she's like a tech type of character. She has like drone things too, but not hers are a little bit different, so you don't have to worry about like stepping on my toes or anything like that. But but I don't want to talk about it too much, but I think you're gonna like that character. I love that character. It's really, really fun designing her. I had a blast designing her. She's really fun to draw. The Blood Hunt, oh, I can't wait. I hate how long it takes me to do any of the stuff for my own comics. It also sucks because I don't like to give out names of my characters until they show up. Yes, I need to put it on Kindle. That's like the first thing I gotta do. I wish I had money to buy that Prowler. Well, if it's like a headshot like this, who knows? I'll probably do another one in the future when I start to, have most of the cards I want to draw on my list once I get around to them. Or if I want to do something quick, I could probably always whip up another Spider-Man headshot or Prowler headshot. Okay, so let's get the green. So let's finish this one. Which green should I use? I think I should use... I kind of use that green for my signings, so let's maybe not use that one. Where's my swatches? Just so I can see what color green this is. I think that'll do. I don't want to waste like all my green. I only have a few greens.
This? Oh, he's going for a can of Pepsi too! Incredible! What a finish! Sensational combination! Look at the delight of...
I'm gonna try something different this time. Typically what I do is I do the chisel and then work my way down and then get the bullet point here and get to the edges. But this time I think I want to try that first. I'm also not gonna color over the grave. I think I'm gonna color the grave gray. Alright, so let's get in here. Let's try my new idea. I got another idea. What if I do a gradient? So I start off with this kind of green, and then we'll go into a lighter green, because he's kind of like a lighter green and darker green. Mostly light green though, so we'll try to match his color a little bit. I just didn't want to waste all my light green, so I went with the darker one. But if I do something like this and we kind of blend it, it also kind of makes the background a little more unique than just a flat, boring color. It also will help me have something interesting going on over here to kind of balance this out. Because I feel like most of it is kind of leaning this way. So even though, yes, they're kind of just quick sketches that I'm just trying to see if I can make some quicker money off of, I still put a lot of thought into everything I do, and I want them to be something that if I would want to own them, which is great because if they don't sell, I do get to own them, so it's just a win-win. And I feel like it's more sincere in that sense. It's I think it's kind of cool. I'm not just putting out crap, and then just saying, suckers. They actually bought that shit? Can you imagine? I'm drawing things I genuinely like. I like Prowler. He's cool. I'm not really drawing characters I don't like. If I get to a point where I'm drawing characters I don't like, that's how you know I'm in a pinch, I'm not having Buffalo Wild Wings anymore. Alright, let's see. Jasmine green. Summer green. Let's try a summer green. Wish I had a free bag of chips. If I ever did some kind of giveaway, which I am doing some kind of giveaway, but I've already talked about it, but I'll mention it again. If I ever do some kind of giveaway kind of thing, it would be my own characters though. So you gotta start liking them graveyard IPs. But as far as like the reminder of what that is, I have done the recounts, the remarks. I mean, the first 100 remarks for Nadir Volume 1 when that comes out. So I'm sitting on all those. Whenever I finish that, I'll mail those out to, you know, for the first 100 people who buy that volume. I'll send that out to them for free. Also, for anyone who joins the Patreon, any of the paid tiers, so even the $3 tier, I have some remarks I've done. And for those, if you want them colored, I can color it for you if you want. I just want to get to the rim here of his head, the edge of his head, so that way I can bring this out, so when I put in the lighter green, I can have an edge of green that I can pull from and blend. You know, I don't want to accidentally go into his head with it. Alright, it's blending kind of nice. Let's get that other one, which is it? Tender shoots. Not that one. That's a green, not that one. No. Where the hell is it? Where's my green? Oh, I almost knocked all my stuff over. That's the annoying thing about coloring on the live. I feel like when I take too long to get the color, I'm like, well, there goes my audience. There it is. Alright, so let's fill this area in. Let's see, will it blend on its own? Or do I need to get the blender? I think I need the blender. Alright, so let me just fill this area in real quick. Let's grab the blender. So with the blender in, let's go back with the green.
Money with nutritious meals delivered straight to our door. It takes only 2 minutes to heat up, no preservatives.
Sink that green in.
They actually taste like restaurant quality food. That means I actually look forward to every meal.
These are all natural, preservative-free meals with no artificial additives.
So let Forkful take cooking and groceries off your plate.
Join the thousands that trust Forkful today.
That's a tough green to blend. I don't like how that's looking. So I think what I'll need is one more green as an intermediary. Let's try jasmine green. Oh, it's dried out, of course. Let's try summer green then. How dark is this one? Okay, not too bad. It's a bit dark. I'll put it to the side. I'll think about it. What's this one? Jasmine. Oh, this is the one. Macaw green. Maybe this might work. Let's try it. No, I don't like that one. Okay, so we're gonna go with this one and the blender just to see how we can blend that in. Oops, I hit my hand here. I don't regret my decision of going with green. However, I need to bring it home. I need to land this plane though. I need to blend that just right. Okay. Let's get the tender shoots. Really blending that in. Deep into it. Hello, Mystery. I feel like I'm gaining some inspiration from Doc Ock Designs. I think that's also really good to just look at different things for inspiration. That was a little ambitious of me to use so much of this green that looks like it's running out, and to use it on a background, probably not my wisest decision, but I think this can look good. I think I can make this look good if I blend it just right. And it's definitely taking to it. I just have to noodle it, you know. Just fade out those edges. And we're having a Bob Ross moment over here. As a little unplanned and this is one of the things as far as like traditional versus digital. You know, digital, you kind of get the feedback you want. You can always undo. You know, you make a mistake or you do something or there's a certain property to traditional that you just can't account for. And it's like, well, that's how it looks now. And I know I said before, there's certain things that you can fix, but there's just certain properties, I'm saying, that, you know, are hard to account for. And in my case here, I originally wanted just like a clean fade, but how I did this, you kind of have the alcohol kind of almost bleeding into certain areas that give this like an acid kind of burn to it that I think I like even more than my initial direction. Come on. My whole marker came apart. Marker said, I'm done, Chief. Let me just get this spot here. Chisel point then. Alright. So that's it for this marker. Good thing I didn't have any more prowlers on the list. Let's grab that gray one more time. Just so that way this doesn't have too much of a white line too close to his eye. And I'll just bring that in a little. There we go. And now his eye is a little more isolated. I also feel like this is a little too much of a sliver. And let's just close it a little bit. There we go. Nice. Like it. I'm so glad that I didn't go with my initial idea of just a simple black background. I think this looks way cooler, and it's way cooler than what I even originally intended with it. With that kind of burn. Oh, I like it. I'm so proud of myself. Here's the one I did before. Here they are together. And thank you, Mystery. I'm glad you like it. Okay, so let's move that to the side. We could probably do Chameleon pretty quick, since his mask's like white. Oh, I forgot to color the gravestone. Again, the reason why I did that one different instead of just coloring right over it was because originally I was going to do that as a black background. So instead of coloring over it, I could always just do it like that. I don't know if people like the little grave or if they like it more low-key. But definitely for ones that have a background, which won't be many, I think I'll probably keep it low-key. I don't know. The old me would have just gone for boom, slap that shit on, you know, that's how it is. But me now, I don't know. I guess because they're individual cards that I'm selling and people don't really know I exist. You know, I feel like in a way they might feel like I'm interfering. And it's like a grave's kind of graphic in a way, and especially if I'm coloring it, they might be like, it's cool and all, but why is there just a random grave there? Or what does Prowler have to do with graves? Switch it up like this one. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Quality. I could definitely do that at some point. Switch them up. Have some variety on it. Okay, so let's grab, I gotta get my other markers for the skin tone. My skin tone markers. I'll grab one of that. Light one. Now, when it comes to skin tones, you definitely want to blend some different colors. And I think that helps it feel a little more natural. Because if you look at a human, we're not all just one color. You know. And especially like the softness and the way the light hits you. Dropping in since you told me about you coloring on stream. Dropping in this live? Is that what you mean? I'm gonna use a darker one for under his chin. Just a little more shadow. Just in these areas. Oh, so you were Raiden. I didn't know your YouTube name. Yes, I'm glad you caught it. Caught the live. Yeah. So here are the ones I'm working on for Wave 3. I'm glad you can make it. And I'll show you your cards. I have them here. In my own house right now, I kind of have them on my little, my easels. I just got them on display. I like to put the ones that I'm going to be sending out, since I'm not going to have them for much longer. I'll kind of display those. But let's bring those out. And I put a penny sleeve on those, so there we go. That's what that looks like. And of course you have the Carnage one as well. Where'd I put that? Where's that box? I had it. Oh, there it is. So shout out to Quality of Living, and thank you for supporting so many of the cards, and so many of them get to stay with their brothers, and I really appreciate that. You didn't tell me it was you when you joined the live. How was I supposed to know? No, but I really appreciate that. That's so cool. And again, thank you so much, Quality. I just want to personally say I'm really grateful that I can even be able to talk to you right now, because I know when I first put it on, this is my first time ever using YouTube, TikTok, what's it called? eBay. First time ever using eBay, and I was a little nervous. I'm like, what if people don't like it? Well, I guess I have a bunch of cards that I think are kind of cool. Maybe one will sell at one point. And you were jumping on that 30 minutes into me posting them, and I was like, wow, people already want them already. And then 3 of them, and then and then I saw it was all one person. I was like, oh, it's all just one guy. He's like in the collection. And then you came back when I saw the Carnage one had a bid, and I saw it was you, and I was like, all right, cool, very cool. So as far as like me also starting with eBay, I think that was just good for me to kind of see that, you know, the cards were moving, and now we have other bids. Like someone bought the lizard one, so I don't have that one to show. Someone just put a bid on this Spider-Man one, and then you followed me on Instagram, and you're here on YouTube, and so that also helps, because, you know, organic growth, you know, is really helpful for us artists. And you know, going from not just a person on eBay who just bought something to someone who's now supporting me, even with just a follow, or, you know, from there maybe interest in my own books, reading my comics, my free to read stuff, or you know, even to having this kind of like personal interaction. I don't think you get that a lot with eBay. I think a lot of times people, they just buy something, they get their thing, and they're glad that they didn't screw each other over, you know? So I think this is so cool. I think you being here, it means a lot to me. It really does. My first ever eBay sale. Wow, I can't talk. Okay. So enough mushiness. So I do want to ask, how'd that happen? Were you just looking up Spider-Man ACOs? Do you even look up ACOs, or do you just look for art cards? Or you just look for Spider-Man cards? How did that happen? I'm just curious because I like to know the behind the scenes of things. While we're here are some of the other ones. Another Prowler here. Oh, it's funny. I did a blend for that Prowler as well. The Goblin. Let's get some grays ready for his helmet. I'm a big symbiote fan, so this worked out. I know you are because of all the for all the ones you picked, and then also afterwards talking about like Scream and Anti-Venom and some of the other ones. That's funny, Caramel Girl. I never had a chance to say thank you, and you'll never have to. Venom ACOs. Okay, so you already knew about ACOs. I had just like posted it. I think you came in 30 minutes. So the timing of that is crazy. I had like just posted it. I was like trying to navigate eBay. And at one point, what's it called? I was gonna end the bid early for the Carnage one. I just could not for the life of me figure it out. I was finishing school, and I had a big test I had to take. So I just finished. I'm gonna be getting my master's degree anytime now. I just finished all my classes. And as you know, I work with Dynamite Comics, and so I do sketch cards like professionally. If I can kind of like gas up the cards, maybe if you ever want to sell them or something, maybe hold on to them in the future. Varkroak, ooh, Skyrocket. But every once in a while, I just have to remind or say into the chat here, I do have a free-to-read comic series you could read on the Graveyard Comics Facebook page, if I could talk. Also on TikTok, I have a playlist called Nadir Archives. So Nadir Archives is the name of the anthology series. And it's a sci-fi war comic. So I typically do a lot of like, armored dudes with guns and stuff like that. I'm also working on a medieval dark fantasy trading card set that will be story cards, and those will be kind of like cards, like you open it up, oh, which one I'm gonna get, but they're not playing cards. They'll be numbered. They'll tell part of the story, and then on our Discord, you guys can like talk about which cards you guys got. I really want to emphasize like people kind of putting the story together like a puzzle. He wants them for himself. No, it's all my personal collection. The guy who bought the lizard one, he said that he buys lizard cards. I was almost tempted to draw more lizards, but I do love the lizard. He's one of my top 3 like Spider-Man villains, so I'm sure I'll do more lizard in the future. The only thing is I need to get more greens. Here are some of the finished cards for my medieval series. So we're kind of far from that from now, but I'm juggling these as well. And these will be scaled down to trading card size and colored. And then on the back, it's going to have a little story kind of explaining what's going on. So here I just finished this one. I think I worked on this on the last live. Some lizard people. And thank you, Quality. And I don't know if I'll show some of the Free to Read comic series. I don't know if I'll show some of that. That's not too spoilery. It's kind of late in the game, so it's kind of spoilery for the pages I have out. I'll show these. So this is my anthology series, Nadir Archives, and this particular story within the anthology is called Section 6. Well, I think it's a nice, fun, family-friendly comic. You know, nothing crazy, very clean. Clean enough, anyway. All right, so let's move that out the way. So that's what I've been working off camera, and some of my work with Dynamite Comics. I'll show you guys that, actually. I haven't showed you guys what I've been working on with them for this latest batch. So I got some mask cover. I have done some. I'm waiting on a response for some stuff, but I've done some drafts that I'll send to them and wait to get approved. Where is it? Oh, there it is. I'll show you guys that. I don't really know much about Mask, but here's one I have for Brad Turner and the Condor. Here's one with Lester, Sledge, and Iguana. Here's one with Boris and Buskin. And then here's kind of like a homage to like Back to the Future. That was my cousin's Jeff's idea. And I'm just I'll draw whatever mask characters in there in the vehicle, but I'm waiting for a response on which character, and then I'll let them pick which ones we go with. So let me move that out the way. So I got more Red Sonjas. Here's one Red Sonja I did. This one's kind of like an homage to kind of like Frank Frazetta. I've been really studying his artwork. Here's one, and I kind of have an action kind of thing here. Kind of get a sense she's gonna poke that eye out with the sword. Those moments before disaster. We got some kind of pterosaur creature. She's got like on a cliffside. I think that's kind of fun. And then I got a few Thundercats. I don't know this guy's name, but I decided to go with the villains. I forgot his name. I wrote it down somewhere. I think the villains are a little more interesting to me than the Thundercats. I've actually never watched Thundercats. I think this guy's name was Vulture Man. And then this guy, I think his name is Rataro. Is a rat. And then this one I did today before I went on my walk. Mumra. So I did this one today. And then I'll ink these and color them. So I'm kind of juggling a lot between my day job, my covers, and then trying to squeeze in my own comics. And then for these cards, I typically bring them with me to work, or I bring them or I work on them on the lives. Same with the Stains of the Forgotten cards as well, because they're like portable. But I also just really want to focus on Nadir. A big part of that is, one, I want to finish that book, and two, I can only really work on that at home. So when I'm home, I want to work on that. But right now we're in spoiler territory. I don't want to do that on the lives. So this is great because I'll always have content for the lives now between the Stain cards and any ACEOs I'm doing. I'll always have content. There would be times where I'm like, dang, I'm in spoiler territory. I don't know what to do on the live. And I don't want to just draw just doodles just to doodle, you know. Everything is a job. Everything has to be done with purpose. Okay, so let me move this cover stuff out of the way. And some of my covers get featured on the EXP Lives YouTube channel, so check them out. That is oftentimes like on Monday when they do sketch covers, but each day they do a different show. It's very cool stuff. And I'll read the chat in a second. Which was your favorite of my cards? The first one, Kaylee? Draw Black Cat, my life is yours. I could, but the thing about characters with like no masks and stuff like that, it's extra work. But I guess I could, especially like a full body one would be kind of fun to do because of her white hair, and then I get to practice more of my Frazetta. Tempting me. Shit. I mean, how hard can it be? It would take me a little more time and effort to do a face, but realistically, how much more? You know, I mean, I draw faces all the time. We'll see. Earl! You lie! Got mad at my friend because she got to meet the voice actor for young Ocelot from Metal Gear and Spider-Man from one of the animated shows, Josh Keaton. I would be jealous too. Okay, I think I read everything. Okay. Alright, I'm in. Let's see. As for him, I don't know what color I should color his suit. Let me see. Let me see what color his suit was in Spectacular Spider-Man. Maybe we'll go with that. Or I go with gray. And be boring. Let's be boring. Because I'm looking at a cool cover I just pulled up. I think that could be cool. If I go... And I say boring in quotes. Gray with white on the inside and a red tie. I think that could look kind of cool. Let's see if I go in with a little green on his eye. And I did that so tiny. Let's see if I go off camera just to add that. Barely noticeable. What did I say? Red? That's what I said. I said red. But let's use this other red. Where did I put it? R72. let's see, where's my other red? Fluorescent red. We'll just do that to mix it in. And then I'll mix in some regular red. Some Paradise Pink 6, 7 here. Hit the camera. And we're getting motion sickness from that. I'm about to get a Charlie horse on my leg. How do you sense it coming? How do you know you're about to get it? Cool Gray 7. Let's see if I do that one. CG7. CG7. Kind of like a flat gray. I kind of like that. And I'm gonna mix that with blue gray. BG5. I sensed it. I can't. I'm so much pain right now. I haven't had a Charlie horse in a while. I don't miss it, but I never forgot the pain. I think this little combo I did was kind of good. I kind of like that a lot. I can say that and not sound cocky because I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm winging it, but, you know, when it comes to traditional art, you're kind of along for the ride when it comes to, like, you know, these things that you're working with. Like, oh, yes, I perfectly predicted the bleed of this gray blue to mix with that soft gray in just that exact moment. You know, there's an unpredictability. There's an area of, you know, freedom in that sense of lack of control. So basically I have the initial image in my head that I'm drawing, and then the actual artwork in front of me, and kind of just playing around within and flowing, you know, technically, like technical skills of how to go about that. I'm even going to put a little gray in his eyes just to push it deeper in with shadow. And we'll come in here just to finish this off so it doesn't feel too unfinished. The white, just a little shadow on the inside of his thing, his white shirt. All right, and he's done. I just got to do something with that background. I think green, again, would be a good background for him. He's called the chameleon, and when I think of a chameleon, I think green. Yes, color chemistry. It may not be my actual last name, but I started Graveyard Comics and I named myself after my work, or I named my work after myself. But I like that that disconnect though, as I, as far as work, but also, a name like Grave. It sounds goofy, but it stands out. As far as you can Google me, you can Google Jake Grave, or you'll remember Jake Grave. And I've had instances too where the name just helps people remember and look up. It's short, Jake Grave, done. And you can look up Jake Grave Spider-Man, Jake Grave Spawn, Jake Grave G.I. Joe, Jake Grave Metal Gear. I've done so many drawings, and with that name, my full name is Jacob. Jake is just short for Jake. So it's sincere in that in that way. It's not like it's a secret identity. Gotta get through this to ink my drawing. Yes, work through the pain. Why the name Graveyard Comics? I knew I wanted something that I felt could have a macabre kind of element that can be kind of dark, but not like solely dark and pertaining only to darkness and horror. Because I knew my main comic series that I started was Dead Liberty, and that was like a superhero war story. But it's a war story first, a superhero story second. And, at the time I was writing a horror story, and I knew I wanted to kind of have something that could fit with a horror theme, but also be open to just about anything. Because the idea with Graveyard Comics was I was going to have myself and a couple of friends, we would be making our own comics and just be under the Graveyard Comics umbrella, so we could kind of share communities with each other. Over the years, though, I'm kind of like the only one at the lighthouse, sadly. I mean, some of the other ones, Timmy quit and Jody got married, but, some of the other guys that are working on it, they're working on their own stuff, and I hope that works for them. Who knows, maybe they'll come back to Graveyard Comics at some point, but as of now, it's kind of just me. So you're stuck with me. But I think I have such a wide range. I want to do mecha stuff. I want to do medieval stuff. I want to do superhero stuff. I want to do more war stories. So I think I cover a wide range of topics. If I had my Dead Liberty books nearby, I'd flip through them. I had some. I don't know where I put them. Oh, I know where I put them. I had some construction being done. I had to put them in a box somewhere. Do I have any nearby? No, I don't. Okay. It's alright. What did I say? Green? Which green should I use? Because I already just used green. I guess it doesn't matter. I'm not going to do a blend with this one. Let's use that green I used before. Summer green. And let's do what I said I was going to do with Prowler, but I didn't end up doing it. So I'm going to grab these corners and start off like that and see if this works better for me. So I'm kind of making a halo around the character. I think even that kind of looks cool on its own. Just the green halo kind of off the character kind of looks a little cool. I don't know if we'll do that, but I don't think we will. But let's see. Let me see. Let's just see how it looks. Because I have to do the halo anyway. It kind of makes him look like a sticker a little bit. The hand coming out of the grave. And then, so our little fan base, our people, our loyal viewers and readers are called the Spectres, the ghosts that haunt the graveyard. While myself and any remaining caretakers call us the Caretakers, because caretakers work at graveyards and they kind of tend the grounds. Although lately Graveyard Comics is really feeling like a graveyard. It's kind of barren. But we have our little Discord, and I'm so happy for the Discord. I think that the Discord really feels like what I wanted the Facebook page to be like. What do we think of just this, like white and then just green? Or should I go full green on the background? Or maybe I should bring this out a little more. What are we thinking? While I wait for suggestions, I'll take a sip of my drink. Bring it out more. Yeah, I felt like it's a little empty here. Let's see. It's like, you ruined it. Just go full green. Well, let's make it almost like a shadow. Let's see how that goes. Dark green to a faded light one. Again, we did that on the other one. And that was very hard to do. But I also would use up my greens. And I'm kind of stingy with my greens right now. Okay. I mean, it's a good idea. It's definitely a good idea. And I agree that would be cool. I think I should just go full green. I think I messed it up. Any stylish thing I was doing, I think I ruined it. Yeah, like I was kind of thinking like a shadow almost. But now I feel like it kind of looks a little empty. Like whatever it was kind of triggering something with the eyes and how the eye was kind of capturing that. But I think I lost the magic there. Oops. I'm thinking maybe if we are still trying to be a little designy, I would have to bring this out to kind of balance it. That kind of looks cool. This, we're using the chisel. Just trying to fade this into it, bleed itself. And then just kind of finish this shape up here. Yeah, it's nice. I think if it was a thin green all around we're gradient. I guess maybe we can fade out and do like what Kaylee was saying with the lighter green. We could fade it out a little bit, but not like go all the way so we can keep some of the white. I think that's kind of fun, you know, kind of playing around with the background a little bit. But mainly, I guess, because I feel like there's not a lot going on with this character. He's kind of just wearing a suit and just standing there. So I think a character like Chameleon, who's just wearing regular human clothes, could benefit from a little more designy, you know, sparkle? Pizzazz? What am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Moxie? Do people say Moxie anymore? I'm bringing it back. Hello, Agamemnon. Is his white mask? His mask white? Wow, I can't read. Uh, I always thought it was gray, but I'm seeing a lot of white when I look it up. I kind of no, it is. It looks like it's mostly gray a lot of times. I think I should go gray. I think that's a good. I'll use a light gray. Let's use this one, and then we could just add a little white. And we could always go a little darker, if anything. Oomph. Background oomph. I think it's also just a good exercise for like thinking outside the box. Now, as far as adding a blend to a lighter green, this is gonna be very tricky because this is like going from 10 to 1. Like we're missing a couple of numbers in between. So to kind of blend that, it will be probably just more like of another layer. Yeah, I like them better with the full gray. And this is very light gray. And I could leave some white highlights. Kind of make it feel a little more like a mask. Maybe a solid green. So just like another kind of halo kind of. Let me just kind of smooth out some of these strokes here. Kind of run that a little more parallel. So I have a master's in art education. I'm all done. I finished all my tests, finished my classes. I'm just waiting for that degree to be awarded, which could take a few weeks. And I have a digital art undergrad, which is my bachelor's degree. So in these lives, I give like tutorials and stuff like that. I do like art tutorials. Or more so, I mainly just explain the process of what I'm working on. I have done tutorial stuff, but you know, I have a lot of work to do, so I can't only do tutorials. I also find myself repeating myself a lot if, you know, I'm just doing the same tutorials. But sometimes I'll do like art critiques if I have time, and basically in the Discord, people will put whatever artwork they want critiqued, and then I'll fix it up, or I'll be like, oh, this is really good, but let's draw the leg like this, or you know, let's fix this, or whatever. Okay, so I think going with that lighter green, I think what I'm just gonna do is just a ring. I think I'm gonna do it as like just a little ring, like that. And I'm gonna let that bleed into the corner there. I think that's done. I think any more, I think I've messed it up if if I touch it anymore. I think leaving this white also allows for my signature to kind of occupy that corner there pretty nicely. I would like to eventually get into art. Now I know I can pick your brain. Yes, of course. And I think everyone can get into art. It's a learned skill. It's about practice. Also, anything I say, you can take with some, experience. I'm a literal master. Instead of just saying, trust me, bro, it looks good. But, in all seriousness, it's all about breaking things down and into simple forms and, be patient with yourself and your level of art. And, you got to keep in mind it's a lot of things. Let's say drawing a human, right? Someone says, can you show me how to draw people? That's like saying, I want to watch Avengers, but you didn't watch Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, or Thor, or Captain America, or Hulk, and you jumped right into Avengers. So to draw a human, it's like the Avengers coming together. You have to know how to draw people. You have to know how to draw poses. You have to know how to draw faces. You have to know how to draw hands. You have to know how to draw clothes around the character. So there's many jobs happening at once that could all be a different unit. You know what I mean? So you're probably not going to want your character to always be T-posing. You're also probably not going to want your character to, have just, unrealistic proportions or whatever. So it's all just disciplines that you have to really focus on and kind of try and teach yourself at once. But I think it's better to kind of just take a week and focus on one thing, whether it's poses, whether it's proportions, and, just keep that in mind because it can be a lot of information. All right, moving on to Spider Carnage. Yes, of course. And the most important thing is that you have fun. So don't get too frustrated. I know for me, faces were the things that took me the longest. I hated my looked so ugly. And then I went back. Even my first book in 2018, I remastered the art for some of my early books because that did not represent my brand. It's not good. Can you call dibs on it? Since I already announced these as like part of a wave, I would say that I do kind of want to put it on the eBay kind of thing, but I doubt there's going to be many competition, I don't think so. But, as far as commissions go, I can always redraw the character, as a commission if someone really wants a card and misses out, because I don't want to weaponize like FOMO either. I don't want to be like, oh, you got to get it now, you got to bid for it, anything to make me a couple of more money, at the expense of other people. I personally don't like that, especially because this is kind of just side quests while my main focus is my own comics. So I don't mind redrawing a character for a commission. I'm not making it like an exclusive thing or trying to, like I said, weaponize, oh, you gotta get that War Machine, because I'm not drawing War Machine again. I said that before. I said I'm not drawing War Machine again for the ACEOs because he's a lot of work. But, if someone commissions me to, I'd do it. But with these ACEOs, as I'm doing them in waves, I'm kind of also just scanning them together, and I doubt this would ever happen. This is me thinking out loud. If I ever get to a point where I'm really big, I can probably be like, hey, Marvel, do you guys want to do like a trading card kind of thing? I have all this artwork, and maybe we could do like some trading card kind of thing. I doubt they would ever say yes to that, but it's just a thought, you know. And also, it's a way for me to kind of keep my art a little bit, because I like I said, I do like the drawings I'm putting out, so I get to kind of keep it without keeping the originals and just hoarding all the original artwork. And my mom was like, "You can't keep all your artwork," and I know that. It's a little easier for me to sell like Spider-Man characters because they're not my characters. You know, I didn't invent them. So, you know, as much as I like that lizard drawing that I sold, you know, it's not mine. It's not my IP. So, it's a little easier for me to kind of distance myself from it. Okay, coming in with the darker reds. And then I'll go in with the lighter reds. Fucking moth. A moth just like flew really close to me. How'd you get in here? And thank you, Quality. I really appreciate that. So, are you like a card collector or just a ACO collector? Because I know there's like some Marvel cards. What are they called? Like Chrome? Marvel Chrome? I guess I don't know how well my cards would line up with those if someone's like putting a binder together. I think those are just movie. I don't think those are comic, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that moth almost gave me a heart attack. It got like right up on me. He was floating around a little earlier, and I was like, oh, great. You got a moth in here. And I was like, as long as it stays over there, I'm good. And he decided it was my time. He was like, no. He flew up in my face like, you got games on your phone? I felt like that reporter. He was like, the fuck is that? That's how I felt. Shit flying in my mouth. Pollen, can't see. Let's get the fuck out of this country ass motherfucker. Yeah, you went silent, Caramel Girl. I was like, oh, I wonder if she survived that cramp. Is that a cramp? A Charlie horse? Is a Charlie horse a cramp? Is that the same thing? I started with cards, but it has transformed into original art collecting. My tongue. That is that's also very admirable. You know, you don't know how much you're supporting an artist's quality. You really don't know how much it means to them because, you know, they're putting themselves out there. They're scared. In a way, you know, even if it's like, let's say they are selling it for like $1 or $2, you're still validating that artist. And it's like, oh, my stuff's selling. I'll never forget that feeling I felt when I saw, like, within 20 minutes, I was telling Kaylee when that happened. I was like, wow, someone already bid it on it. I just put it up. And then I was like, wow, another one. And then I saw it was you. And I was like, one person likes that much of them. So, you know, on behalf of whatever artist you've ever supported, thank you. And thank you for them. I'm sure they would be thanking you. Because, like I said, you know, some of these guys are beginner artists as well. And some of these guys are also just doing it as a hobby. Some of them are, you know, it's just a validating feeling for them. For me, I'm doing side quests. And I'm very fortunate that, you know, where I'm at, you know, professionally and even though I'm kind of like an unknown underground artist, you know, I would say there's a lot of artists that have like insecurity, and even I could like get that. I'd be like, why didn't my Green Goblin sell? Is it ugly? Is that it? It's ugly, isn't it? Well, I should just burn it. You know what I mean? But I think that there's a mental thing that you have to get with the arts, and you know, accept that this is a luxury. You know, things like food, they sell themselves, and in this economy, you know, someone out here buying artwork, you know, you don't need artwork. And so someone supporting you like that, I don't think should ever be taken for granted. Let me take a sip of my drink. Moth Attacks. That sounds like Mars Attacks. That sounds like that would be a cool card set. Moth's Attack is like a parody. But then you get sued by like Tops. On my eBay ACEOs, I also post like the videos that I basically make as TikTok videos, like, and YouTube videos, like the clips. So I clip them from YouTube and then I put them together in TikTok. And then I think that kind of shows a more homemade element to anyone who's shopping on eBay, instead of just seeing like a finished drawing. And you get to really see the process, like, you know, me inking it and coloring it. And I write as seen on YouTube. So maybe people will be like, oh look, there's something to this, or you know, I could see the process on it, or maybe this Jake Grave guy is kind of a rising star or something. I hear he's the darling of Dynamite Comics. But you know, in reality, I'm wondering, like, people are like, who the hell is this? Jake Grave. I do plan to sell. I was saying before, I do plan to do more than just Marvel drawings for the ACEOs. But right now, I'm kind of this. I get like fixated, and I like to do things as like a series. So I kind of wanted. I got a bunch of ones already drawn out. The thing about getting original art, it's hard to tell sometimes if it's in fact original and not AI or printing or tracing or going on. Oh, okay. Yes. And also, what I was saying with the fun thing about alcohol markers is they bleed. Oh, shit. It didn't bleed. It didn't bleed yet. But they bleed. They bleed through. And so that kind of proves that, you know, it's the original. But yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. But yeah, no, I don't trace. You can't trace if you're doing like comics professionally, and you know, the way I say, you have to just understand how to break the human body into a simple form like a mannequin. And then what's the need of tracing? What's the need of even like posing books when you can just imagine the character and think of it like an action figure. Think of how you're bending the character's knees, you know, or things like that. I do a lot of horror stuff too. I have a whole bunch of monster stuff that I do. Quality, while you're here, I'll show you some of the monsters I've drawn. I'm just like, I feel like a kid when there's like a guest and he like just grabs all his toys and he just starts showing everything. But because you're new here are some like just quick monster doodles that I've done on lives. So people are probably sick of seeing these. I've showed them so many times. These are just drawn in pen with some red pens. You can get really far with just red pens, because there's something about blood that people just react to. Yes, monsters out the graveyard. It's a mimic. Harpy. Someone said draw an evil moon. Possessed pumpkin. It's like a scarecrow. You're a good doggy. Reminds me of Resident Evil. Most people compare it to like Silent Hill or Dead Space. They compare my monsters to. And you gotta bring your little brother with you if you're going trick-or-treating. And I try to draw them kind of like different. I try to draw like the monsters always different from something I've done before. Granted, some will have similar traits, you know, whether I do certain things the same way for a few. This one was done with a dip pen. It's a way for some people to make easy money without putting in hard work. I would say it could. You're talking about the AI stuff. Oh, AI is trash. The AI stuff. There's never been an easier side, and well, let me re-say that. There's never been an easier battle to be on the right side of history than this AI thing. You know? As for me, when I was a kid, you know, I was never into horror, and I think that's why my stuff is kind of creepy with that, because a lot of people are like, oh, I always love horror, I love slashers, and for me, I hated that stuff. And when I was a kid, I would just have these horrible nightmares, and that's why I stayed away from scary anything, and I would still get nightmares, and I would be so scared of everything and anything. And then one day I just confronted my fears, basically. I was also just like miserable. Like life was kind of sucking. And I'm like, there ain't nothing that can be done to me that the devil, there ain't nothing the devil can do that ain't already been done at this point. So, you know, I don't recommend this. But I like turned the lights off and I just kind of sat there and I was like, you know, do your worst. And nothing happened. No ghosts grabbed me or pulled me off the bed. You know, nothing scratched me. Nothing choked me. I was like, all right, pussies. That's all you got? And, you know, I started drawing my monsters. And when I'd get my nightmares, I just was like, all right, well, thanks for the fuel, I guess. Yeah, it took a stand. I just also imagine the way they sound too, you know, just like, can you imagine this thing like just breathing, just, hold on, let me try to do a better wheezing voice. I can imagine that. Like, I got like the skin hanging off his bones. Now, picture, people, wow, I can't talk today. People often picture like monsters with like big roaring sounds. You know, it's the primitive nature of like a monster, a predator, you know, like a lion, like a big roar. But I picture something more in pain and agony, you know, wailing. When I draw monsters, they're kind of suffering. When I draw a demon, that's different. I draw demons with a different mentality. Let's see if we see some demons in here. But it's almost like it's fun because like take this guy's jaw away, and I kind of bring his teeth all the way back. And I'm like, what if instead he's got this big pincer thing to kind of finish off his mouth? And I thought it was hilarious that I gave him his little eyeballs kind of like popping out. And sometimes I'll do things like juxtapose, I might add like little baby hands on one of them, something that should be cute. And, it doesn't belong. And same with like what I was saying about the roaring. Sometimes these things, I picture them like sounding like people screaming, or pigs at a slaughterhouse just screeching, or like gurgling on their own blood. I drew this one. I was drunk when I drew this one. It just appeared on my desk when I woke up sober. And then there were times where I was going through some stuff, and I found drawing monsters to be kind of therapeutic for me. Just like letting, the darkness kind of out of me almost. I would just draw some stuff. Just grab a pen. I don't care about if it looks good or not. And so my proportions and stuff like that, it's not refined. It's just getting them out of my head. I imagine this one kind of flies with just like its skin. Oops, dropped my pen. Who knows, maybe I'd start doing some monster ACOs. I like to say, whenever I bring this one out, and as these YouTube videos end up getting recorded and put up, people probably, if anyone ever watches that, I can't imagine anyone's going to watch like a 2-hour-long thing. So I can keep reusing the same joke. Where my hug at? It's like Oni Tengu. Ah, demon, here we go. So when I draw demons, these things revel in it. They want you to know they're a demon. They inflict the pain. And I like to draw demons with horns. And it's a little stereotypical. And I think everything ends up kind of coming back full circle, people try to be different. They try to break the mold, but then eventually we come back to the original mold and kind of reinvent it. But my philosophy with it is, a lot of times you'll hear people say, when the devil comes, he's going to come in a suit and tie. He's not going to come with the horns and stuff like that. Which, yeah, if he's trying to like make you mess yourself up or trick you or whatever. But my demons, as far as like stories and stuff like that I write, when a demon shows up, he's going to come with the horns. Because he doesn't want you to mistake what he is. He takes pride in knowing that he's the most baddest monster out there. When he comes with the horns, he's like, you know what the fuck I am. There's no mistaking it. I'm real, boy. So when I draw a demon, it is a rated R character in like a rated PG-14 kind of story. They changed the whole thing when one of them shows up. Well, not to spoil my stories, but they're in a unseen realm, so don't worry too much about them. Forget what you heard. This is an inside look. There's everything I do has a little drop of poison in it. I will also say, I'm religious, so there's a great deal of respect that I draw from, without messing too much. So I don't think anyone if someone else is like out there, you don't have to worry, reading my book's not satanic, I don't think anyone's going to read my comics and want to start chatting with demons, you know what I mean? If anything, this will put the fear of God in them. You're going to see on Amazon, people who bought my comic, it's going to be like people who also bought, and it's going to be like the Holy Bible. Was busy drawing malware without her goggles on. Goggles are a pain to draw. I love this one. I just want to poke his brain. This is so squishy. I like to call this one the iPad kid. You got games on your phone? Look at this demon. I thought I was clever with this. I just stripped all the meat off his bones, but left his hands, kind of like gloves. I've showed my mom the demons from my stuff and the demons from like Doom, right? And you got the Baron of Hell, who's this big brolic muscular thing. And I asked her which she's more afraid of, my demon or the one from Doom. And she said the one from Doom, to my shock. Which is just this big hulking minotaur, basically. I thought my stuff would be a little spookier because of the viscera and the imagery and symbolism and stuff like that. So it's really interesting to see how subjective fear and horror could be. And with her saying that, and I asked her why, she said, because it looks strong. She said the ones you have look like they're dying already. I like this one. I call it the prawn. And that couldn't be farther from, narrative-wise, my stories. This was just a dream I had. This was freaky. Imagine this like real life. Like, he had an eyeball in his throat, and this one had no eyes, just red, empty sockets. But, as for my demons and stuff like that, they have a very deathly, kind of, visage. They just are of death. So they have, like, rotting flesh, they stink, but they're not in pain, and they are incredibly strong. And, some of the time, they don't even have to touch you. People will just lose their minds looking at them, very Lovecraftian, they'll do it themselves. The demon doesn't even have to touch them. I should watch the movie The Backrooms. I like The Backrooms, and then I got scared when I started seeing it become like oversaturated with like memes and stuff. But I'm hearing a lot of people say the movie's good, so I'm really happy to hear that. I think what makes monsters kind of spooky and scary is that unknown, How the hell is this thing supposed to hurt you? He doesn't have any hands. He doesn't have a jaw to bite on. Although I do think of how they would, maybe these tendrils grab you, wrap around your face, crush your head, and go into your ears and your eyes and start picking your brain, boom, you're dead. And then it just like drinks your blood or something. I think about that kind of stuff. But, you start to wonder, and it's like, are those nails hammered into its stumps? Who did that to it? Did anyone do it to it? Did it come that way? Oh, this was funny. So this was me testing out my skin tone markers for the first time. And I got sent the skin tone markers by ArtX. So it was like a sponsored thing. And I love how cutesy their whole vibe is. Look, their little mascot is like this little girl. Oh, can you see her? So cutesy. Everything's all so cute. And then it's like, all right, here's mine. Hey, but I think that's good. I think you can get some range. Look how good your markers are. That you can have, like, some range, You don't have to just draw cute stuff. If you're like me, the markers will serve you well, too. Alright. So thank you, Quality, for humoring me and sitting through my fat wad of just little monster sketches. Now, oh, is there more? Oh no. Oh, I got one more. Now, those are just like doodles and stuff. So if I'm doing monsters in my comic, I'll definitely have more rendering. Here's another one that was fun. Here's a xenomorph. I love xenomorphs. Xenomorphs are so fun to draw. Okay, so let me put my stuff back. And thank you everyone who's a regular for sitting through the same set of cards all the time. Every time I show that off. Let's see, Poppy Red. Oh, let's use this red pink. Where'd I put it? The nails in it could launch at you, but they're facing inward. I for those I go a lot more surrealist than I typically would. Let's say, you know, I think about, you know, is this like a monster that is like you know, like an infection like Resident Evil, or is it like a surrealist kind of spiritual kind of thing like Silent Hill? So those are the two kind of avenues that I kind of go down when it comes to like if you ever see a monster in my story. And which story I'm talking about. Oops. Come on. My marker's just falling everywhere. Okay. You're scaring them away. I don't know. I always like to draw villainous characters. I always have the most fun drawing a bad guy. Bad guys are fun. I like to say that the bad guys you can do more with, you know. They're like heroes. They're just fallen heroes, you know, they're just failed heroes. And they can be more interesting, more complex. Because a hero can be complex too, with that constant struggle to be good. But as far as like watching it, I think also there's a part of us that want to see, you know, a villain, because we ourselves are always trying to be good. You know, oftentimes we feel like there's no justice, and by watching a villain, sometimes you can vicariously kind of get that, you know what I mean? But also too, because like oftentimes these villains are just distant enough that they're cool. You know, oftentimes they're not like fully heinous, or those are the ones that you end up hating. And you're not supposed to root for those. As for me with stuff as far as like facing my fears, one of the things I started doing is I started watching like Nuke's top 10 ghosts. Oh wait, it's top 5, right? Nuke's top 5 ghosts caught on camera. I was watching that show all the time, and so I watched so much of it that I'm like, that's these pussy ass ghosts. That's all they can do is slam a door. You know, that would make me jump like a jump scare, and you know, I would be scared though. I knew what it was like to be scared. I would be petrified, and I would be like calling my brother to see if he's awake, and just hearing my voice go into the abyss of nothingness. It was more so the anticipation, I think, the fear that something could be lurking or listening and respond when I call out into the darkness. So I know what it's like to be scared in that sense and petrified. I have like phasmophobia. Like I was like a phobia. I'm not just throwing that word cutely around because it's a buzzword. Like I was scared. I would get fevers because I would be hiding under the covers, and I'd get sick. And I'd get like trigger words that would like make me think of certain things. Like the word Civil War would make me think of this like Civil War ghost that was like on fire, like blue flames. I don't know what the hell, man. I don't even watch horror movies. And what's it called? I have some nightmares that I could just recall in such detail, and some that I never forgot. And you know, I watched so many of these top 10 ghost videos like afterwards, like when I got older, and I was like, I've watched so many of them, and at first I used to go in thinking, they gotta be fake, this is fake, I don't believe anything. And then I was like, I watched so many at this point, I watched hundreds, that some of them were probably real. Whether it was like a freaky ghost in the corner, you know, how did they fake that? I don't know how they faked that. How would that person run there that quick? Or that thing slam? How did that happen? You know, so a few of them were probably fake. I mean, real, you know, that I saw. And then I moved into horror movies. And I knew the horror movie is 100% fake. That's all corn syrup and special effects and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm not gonna get like super scared over a scary movie because I know that's just a bunch of actors and there's like, cut, and then just goofing around and you know, it's all fake. Meanwhile, the top 10 ghosts video, I can't tell if that's real or not. And the worst they did was just slam a door. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's I guess my little journey on partly of how I kind of got over it. But then, you know, I was also like really into like Silent Hill and some of these horror games, Cry of Fear, and I was like, oh, this is different. This is different. And it wasn't just like cheap jump scares and things like that. It was an ambiance. It was a feeling, and in a way, I almost felt like I understood it, and I felt like it understood me, and I feel like this sense of comfort to these kind of the calmness, the loneliness of some of these things, like Silent Hill or whatever. And most recently, I saw Obsession. I love the soundtrack to that movie, like the sounds and the ambiance. It doesn't feel cinematic. I think that's the thing with a lot of these scary movies. They try to be summer blockbusters, and you know, when really, after watching all these ghost videos and stuff like that, it's like you're more likely to have something more realistic if it goes bump in the night. You know, something that's not so bombastic. You know what I mean? To the point where I was jogging, I think last week, and all the lights went out in the park, and I could barely see. At one point, I could have walked into the lake if I was any more careful than I was. And I was like, you know what? Let me listen to the theme of Obsession as I walk out. I'm on some Silent Hill type shit. But yeah, so Obsession was a good movie. If anyone has any doubts, that's a great movie. I loved it. But I like these things that are more subtle with the horror. You know, not big loud noises, not over the top violence. I can handle violence and gore. You know, I draw that shit. You know what I mean? And I think it needs to earn it when it comes to like gore and stuff like that. I don't know if I want to scare myself because I don't scare anymore like that. You know what I mean? If it's a human, I'll just fight them. I'll work out. But if you know, unless they point a gun, I'm like, please don't. please don't. I don't have any money. I'm a jogger, bro. I'm barely even carrying keys. So there's nothing to get from me, you know. But when I'm in that situation anyway. So I recently started jogging. I'm not a jogger, but in that moment I was a jogger. but anyways, you know, as for a ghost, you know, what's the worst they could do really is just scratch me, unless like Bigfoot was out there. So I think the worst thing, realistically speaking, is I could have walked into the lake because there was like no guards or anything, and I was like on my phone texting, and I kind of hit the curb and walked into the grass, and I'm like, okay, let me pay attention, because if that was the lake, I would have been like, I had posted to my story too that on my Instagram story that the lights had gone out. I would have been like, I would have been on a YouTube video. I would have been on Nuke's top 5. It would have been like top 10 videos, top 10 photos taken before death, disturbing photos before death. That would have been my ass. It's like, this aspiring YouTube and comic book creator took this photo moments before his death, before he washed up in the lake 3 weeks later. You're crazy for listening to me. And I had my headphones in too. Shit was like going directly into my brain. Recorded by as well. The recovery of my phone. Oh, that's crazy. If the recovery of my phone watches me walk into the water, that would be chilling. So pay attention to your surroundings. Don't be on your phone. As for like gore and stuff like that, how I go about it is I look at the exhibits of the Museum of Anatomy, like the human body. I forget what it's called, the Museum of Anatomy. And there's a specific cadaver that I'm particularly drawn to, and he's like sliced up like salami. And I like this kind of view because if I have characters swinging their swords and stuff like that and chop off a character's arm or something, you know, this salami man, I can kind of see what the cut would look like at different increments of length. It's funny too because my little brother, he can watch things like Invincible or Scream and be fine, but when it comes to my comics, he kind of like gets disturbed by them, and I'm like, what? You watch literally like in color and live action? He's like, it's because I know when I'm looking at your stuff that you've looked at like real stuff to draw it, and this is what a real person would look like in that situation, and not just scribbles and stuff like that, you know. And I don't just scribble. But you know, I feel like there's a beauty to the human body, and we take for granted things like our lungs and our intestines. And you got like a mile of small intestines, and it's all coiled around and wrapped around with your large intestines, or as I like to lovingly call it, the booty noodle. So, you know, it's like a car. You just lift it up and you see under the hood, and you see how everything works together. It's so beautiful. You know, I'm not trying to be like some edge roller. You know, I see it as art, not just over the top. I do whatever is earned. You know, if depending on whatever injury sustained by my character, that's the degree. You know, it's not going to be a bloodbath unless I earn that. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to just go full shock value. I go story first. Whatever the story demands. Sometimes the story demands a little bit of violence, and so there's some stakes to it. You know what I mean? Am I to blame? A little bit. I was texting Kaylee when I was walking into the grass. Almost got me killed. Speaking of mirrors, there's one in front of me. Did I miss your comment? Oh, yes, I did. I don't like mirrors because in the dark, with low light, if you look at it for too long, your face will look demonic. And it's like you're forced to face her bad, evil, dark side to try to hide. Yeah, no, I think your mind gets confused with mirrors and it gets warped. So that's the deal with mirrors. I wouldn't just creep myself out. You know, I'm not. There's things like, for example, I'm not gonna like look in a mirror and try to freak myself out. Also, I'm not gonna go into haunted places because I do believe this stuff's real, and I also believe that you kind of give it power. You know. So things like Ouija boards, tarot cards, protection crystals, you know, what you give is what you get. And so if you believe that messing around with a tarot card or a Ouija board is going to bring something, you fuel it. You give it agency. You give it permission. Whereas I think that's why a lot of atheists, when they play around with this stuff, they don't see anything because their minds are too close to the spiritual. And so they can't access it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I see it. And also, again, religiously speaking, I'm not trying to tell people what to believe or anything, but from my perspective as a Christian, God says not to put his power to test. And also, you know, don't be stupid. Like, that's biblical. Leviticus 3:7, don't be stupid. Don't put yourself in a situation where he has to fix you. Prevention is the best, you know. It's better just to not mess around with that stuff. So that way you don't need a priest and you don't need all this, you know, a whole church to get a demon out of you. You know what I mean? So Don't go into like haunted places and stuff like that and then be like, oh shit, I was just messing around, now I see faces in the corner of my eye. And it's like, well, play stupid games. I also got the ill chill up my neck up my neck right now when I said that. That was weird. But you know, again, on a more positive note too, to end that off for anyone who also is religious, you know, you are protected. You have the agency to kind of command these things to leave you the hell alone. But you should not be talking to spirits. When you talk to spirits, you kind of let them, you acknowledge their existence. They'll want more attention, and you're basically giving them power and say, hey, I'm on the same level as you. I know you're here. And then, you know, they can mess around. Now, so I know some people are like, this is all garbage. It's not real. Sure, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm here to draw comic books, and maybe you could buy one. I'm not gonna convert you or anything. You know, that's your own journey. But also, I think no one should be like imposed. You know what I mean? I don't want anyone to feel like pushing beliefs on anyone or anything. I think there's room enough here for us all to live with our different beliefs, our different religions, or lack thereof religion. I think just be a cool person. Don't be a dickhead, you know. Alrighty, let's keep reading. Okay. I treat haunted places like a museum. Yeah, they're like a time capsule, especially like these abandoned places like ghost towns and stuff like that. And it's so crazy to think about. Like if you go into like an abandoned hospital or something, and let's say it got abandoned in like 2002, you're gonna see things like VCRs and cassettes and stuff like that. It's like a time capsule. You know, time just never progressed past that point. So things that we don't have anymore might be there, and things we have now are definitely not there. You're not gonna like, you know, find like an iPhone. You know what I mean? They're for history and not to touch or do stupid crap. Yes, and then people start spray painting and stuff like that, taking things with them. How about we change the topic? We get spooked. Who you like Cool Whip? I don't think I've ever had Cool Whip. Okay, I don't want to lose his teeth in here. So, I have a little dilemma. What should I do? Let's use a different gray and see if I can blend that in a little bit. And some red for the spot here. Oh, let's put a little blue. Let's put a little blue. That could kind of bring this forward. Why didn't I think to do blue sooner? Let's hit it with a heavier light blue. Oops, hit my... And let's bring a little red just to add some shadow into his mouth a little. So add a little bit of depth. And let's bring that pink back so I could blend it. Let's bring the light pink out. Blend that a little bit more. And And I'm gonna bring some blue into some of these areas just so it feels a little more bulked out, a little more solid. I could leave some of the whites for some of the highlights, but let's get to the edge. Fathom and Fahrenheit stuff because I can't get enough of them. Yes, you should. That's like your mind asking for more. It's hyperfixating on them. That's the best time to work on something. Because then it's harder to get tired of working on that thing. Alright, let's get the darker blue first before I go in here. Let's see, did I leave the blue out? Where's my blue? I put it away? Oh, here it is. Oops. Just chopped it. Dipping strawberries in Cool Whip is good. I don't know if I've ever done that. Okay, we're gonna use that. We're gonna use a little bit of red. Just for the spot here that I missed. And we'll go in with the blue. And it should pick up some of the dark blue that I laid in and give us a nice bleed. Well, I try to think, what color should I make the background? Alright, I think he's looking kind of cool. I think of Caution when I see Spider Carnage. I don't think I know Caution. Dark Blue. Dark Blue is a gamble because I have to be scared of losing him and some of the dark parts of the shadow into it. I think that'll also kind of cover the signature a little too much. Blue, when you go dark with blue, you can go really dark with blue. Oh, like Caution, as in yellow. I feel like when I do like Spider-Man and some of these characters, yellow could work. I just feel like I do it too much, but not everyone is like you quality that's buying multiple cards, so I guess I don't have to worry too much about having the same color background for a bunch of them. Yellow sounds good. Okay, it seems like people were saying yellow. Several votes for yellow. Yellow would look nice. Yellow and maybe orange. Let's use a different shade of yellow than I've used. I don't think I've used this one before. Let me think about that orange. How would I do orange? I think I'll take Kaylee's suggestion. I'll start with yellow. No, I'll start with orange up on the top and work my way down with yellow. I think that's what I'll do. Vibrant orange. Road orange. Let's go vibrant. Okay, we'll go from yellow from here. Should I do this? Let's do this one. See how this blends. Ooh. It's a noisy marker. I'm gonna try. It kind of gives like a sunset vibe. Let's try with the colorless blender and see if that kind of helps us out a little bit. I think I'm gonna draw a scene where Fathom finally snaps. You know what you could do, Caramel Girl, too? Because you have a lot of ideas. You could probably get, like, something to just draw, like, the compositions, just the ideas, so you don't forget. And so you can kind of, like, get it out of your head, like, real quick on paper, and then kind of come back to that and, you know, tighten it up and make it a more finished piece. But, like, jump on whatever idea you have in the moment. Oh, I like how that blended up there. Very good. Very nice, Kaylee. Very helpful suggestion with the orange. Almost kind of reminds me of like a G.I. Joe card. Like the bio cards. Almost looks like an explosion happening. And thank you, Kaylee, and thank you, Quality. I'm glad you guys like it. I think that came out pretty cool. I could have even left a little white in there if I wanted to go even more, like, with the explosive kind of look. But it's okay. I think I'm gonna actually bring the orange down, because I really like how that looked up there. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit in the corners. Kind of framing that a little bit. Not too much. And then just blend that in. Just so it has a tint of orange. Alright, cool. I like it. I just want to fade this in a little more. I also just want to bring a little bit of orange. A little bit deeper. Alright, cool. Oh, and I need some gray. On his eyes, just a final touch on him. So an extra level of dimension. If I wanted to, I could draw a whole story of Fathom and Fahrenheit in another sketchbook entirely. Maybe you should, so you don't forget any ideas you may have. Alright, last card of the night. Doppelganger Spider-Man. He will probably be kind of quick to do. So let's see. I want to focus on the hands first. If he's all this red, I don't want to lose the detail in the hands, so I have to be a little strategic with this. Let's bring out my dark red first. I'll put most of my rendering in the hands because they're the closest to us. Yeah, he has a really cool design. When I was younger, I used to wonder, like, is he just like a spider mutant? Who made his costume? Did they make 4 different sleeves for him? 6 different sleeves, with each with 3 fingers, you know? Does he need to use the bathroom? Does he pull down his suit? Is his mask attached to his face? I had so many questions. I didn't know that he was just like a construct, like a monster in the design of Spider-Man. He was like made through like dark magic. Good night, Caramel Girl, and thank you for dropping by. Yeah, it is. It is skin. Apparently. Which I like. I like that even more. But I just didn't know that back then, because I never really saw him in any comics. I only saw him in like one comic with like Carnage and Scream. So I'm going to go with these fingers in the background with this darker red. I did a little bit darker red on this finger here. But I'm going to leave the top so that way they can get a lighter color for the light, giving it a sense of lighting. And also this dark red, with these just being solid dark red, kind of push this more to the background a little bit. And so they don't bleed into the same fingers. So I'm trying to create a sense of depth here. So I'll do something like a light red or even pink to kind of act as a buffer between this hand back there and this one in the foreground. He was more in the animated series. I admittedly haven't seen much of the... I saw next to nothing of the animated series. I do want to watch it, though. Now with my pink here, I can blend it into the red. So it's not just only pink. It's like a reddish pink, or it's got traces of red in it. And your eye, since pink is a shade, or rather a highlight of red, your eye won't really pick it up as pink unless you really look at it. But when you look at it all at once, it'll see it as pink. I mean, as just another kind of tone of red, like an illusion. It's kind of cool. I'm not like into color theory or anything, but you know, this is just some stuff I've just been picking up, you know, with the markers and stuff. But I'm jumping ahead. But would a black, oh, hold on, I can't talk. But would a black be a good background color, or is it too muted? I think it could work. Black could work for a background color because we have so little background. There's not a lot of background at all, so it would just be back here, and it'll kind of give them a darker vibe. I would just have to carve out my gravestone here. I'd have to draw the other two angles. I guess we could go black. Think about colors like this. Or would it be a wasted opportunity for an actual color like blue? I mean, he's gonna have blue on his body already. So, I don't know. I don't know if it could be distracting if he already... But I would say I do take your suggestion with a high grain of salt. High grain of salt, my bad. I worded that weird. I take your I worded that wrong. That wasn't just weird. That was like the opposite of what I was trying to say. I was trying to say I take your suggestions with a high degree of weight. Is what I was trying to say. Since you've bought so many cards, I see that you have an eye as far as like what draws your eye that you're willing to like spend money on a card. So I try to see it from the perspective of someone who's bought so many cards. You know what I mean? You knew it, yeah. I take it with salt. Okay, so let's now get in some reds. Let's see how we're gonna do this. I think we're gonna do some dark reds on his deltoids that are kind of here. I take my food with salt and not please. I like salty foods. I think I should probably have gone darker, but that's a good thing. You can always go darker. Let's see what reds I got. Okay, that's gonna be blue. Favorite artist, definitely Todd McFarlane. I really love like the '90s style, like the Image comics. So you know, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Willis Portacio, Mark Bagley. He's not part of Image, but I just love his art. Greg Capullo. I'm a huge Spawn fan. I like Kentaro Miura, who did Berserk. So they're like my top artists, like Kentaro Miura, Tom McFarlane, Greg Capullo. How about you? Who do you lean towards? I'm gonna use this other red because this red doesn't have a brush tip. And this one does, so I can get a little closer in between the teeth. I've heard of people on Whatnot. I've heard about it. I don't know too much about anything of it though. Jim Lee, Simone Bianchi, Lucio Perillo, Ariel Leofragi. I don't think I've heard and I've only heard of Jim Lee on that list. I probably know the art of the other guys. What are some of the art that those people have done? What's like Simone Bianchi? What's he known for? Oh, Masterpieces card set. Marvel masterpieces. I thought you meant like you were describing them to be masterpieces. I didn't know masterpieces was like a thing. Painters. I really like Frank Frazetta's art as well, as far as painters go. And Brahm. All this red on red was very ambitious of me. I hope I don't mess this up. Julie Bell and Boris are amazing painters too, but Frazetta is the OG legend as well. Frazetta's like artwork as well, as far, I mean, like line work, like his doodles, his sketches. He just makes it look so easy and fun to draw. Whatnot is where I get a lot of commission stuff as well. Do it live on stream. Yeah, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if I'd ever do Whatnot. I think I'd be scared to try it. But I wonder if it takes up a lot of space, like on a phone. Maybe I should try that. Should look into Whatnot. Sometimes gets on Whatnot. His streams are fun. Selling signed comic books, but while the stream is happening, he's usually doing a sketch. Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know he still did any lives. He used to do lives on Facebook, and I used to watch him whenever he went on. I'd drop what I was doing, and when he would do a live on Facebook, and I learned so much from him just watching him draw on lives and I saw like a dramatic improvement in my artwork when I was watching him. Where did I put that other pen? 6. Oh, here it is. 6. Check it out and get to see other artists. Okay. Alright, it seems like that's where people are. I might have to check that out. It's fun to hear Todd talk about the history of Venom. And he says that the proceeds go to charity. As well, he's a baller. That's cool. That's something I'd want to do at some point, is do like a charity drawing. Especially, I would want to send it to like the proceeds to like veterans. Especially because, you know, I do a lot of war stories and stuff, so it feels more personal. It feels right, you know, if I'm writing these kind of fictional stories about real life trauma, that the least I could do is probably, you know, do a little charity and the art kind of pay for that. And you could like support the troops and not support war, you know what I mean? Supporting troops is not supporting war. That's the way I see it. Okay. Let's see, is the hardest part out of the way yet? Almost. That being my reds. I think I managed to kind of do it without the hands getting lost into his body. I think I could just do a little more red in some areas. Just a light touch, just so we don't have like white specks. I don't want to lose the spider. It's basically Spider Carnage, but with more arms. And he doesn't have any symbiote, so he can't like do any stretchy stuff with that. And thank you, I'm glad you like it. And yeah, you know, I think there needs to be, like, you know, a bit of, you know, research and the topics that you're writing about. You know, sometimes you need to be sensitive without, like, glorifying war or like, fantasizing someone's trauma, you know what I mean? I think that's something that I always wanted there to be a level of respect and maturity when handling such topics. And even as a young age of like a teenager, when I started my comic Dead Liberty, I always kind of knew that there was a weight, a gravity to it. I never wanted it to feel like characters were out there like, you know, put me in the game. And I'm like, the game? This is war, man. You know, or even like the romance and stuff like that. You know, sometimes they were just like, oh, you know, after this, drinks on me. And it's like, bitch, if you're gonna survive after this, you think you're gonna live? You know, just taking it serious. Hello, Dave. Welcome back. And thank you, Quality. Thank you for noticing. I don't want to do this shit again as far as the reds. This is the one that's probably one of my favorites. I think once I put the blue, it's going to help even more break up some of that. So let's get on with the blue. First, I'm going to start off with some of the darker blue. I think that will be... So we got light sky blue. Where's my other blue? I'm going to play it safe with my blues. I know these two blues work really nicely, so I'm going to use these. Okay, just gotta keep track of his, like, arms. I also like the designs in his eyes. Never would have thought, after seeing Spideys and Venoms, it's like diamond patterns. Yeah, they're compact eyes, which don't really make too much sense because he's a spider, not a bug. Typically, you see compact eyes on, like, insects, you know, like praying mantis or beetles or flies, mosquitoes. Not spiders. Spiders typically can have about 8 eyes, maybe 6 or 8 eyes. But you know what? I don't care too much because it's magic that kind of made him, so I'm like, alright, whatever. And it looks badass, it looks cool, but if I was... Good thing I didn't design him, because I wouldn't have given him that. I would have been like, spiders don't have compact eyes. We'll just get in here. Some darks. Now I could go in and start putting the light blue. Those blues are really starting to look kind of cool. Way to ruin it for me. Oh, first time everyone out here watching. My little brother says he hates watching movies with me. Like, bro just doesn't like fun. Especially space. I've become, I ruin, like, space movies because I'll be like, come on, why is there, like, fire in space? You're in a vacuum. There's no oxygen, so there wouldn't be any space. And then they shoot down a spaceship and shoot down a spaceship? Why is the spaceship going downward? I'm just gonna give it a pass and say the rocket propelled it downward, but why is it sinking? It's a spaceship. They're in space. There's no gravity. And then there's no sound in space either. Oh, don't get me started. I hate when a character holds their breath in space. And they, like, jump from one space station to the next. And they hold their breath. And I'm like, oh, get out. You would... First of all, your skin would just, like, deflate. Like, you'd turn twice your size. You'd asphyxiate, you know, and the water would boil off your eyes. You'd freeze, all the heat would leave your body, and you'd just be in a cloud of just, like, heat would just be floating around you. I'm cursed with knowledge. People will be like, suspend disbelief. How's this shit say? Suspense Suspend. Well, I can't talk. I said it a million times and now I can't. The suspension of disbelief. There you go. It's just a movie. Well, since I write comics, you know, there's things that I'm like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? For my own comics, I mean, like for certain things like Star Wars, I give it a pass because it's like it's science fantasy. Who cares? You know, at that point. I also hate when aliens look human. But again, for Star Wars, I give it a pass because that's like, it's like it's fantasy at that point. You know, you just go into different planets and just breathe in the air. Every planet, no matter the size, has the same gravitational pull, so you could just walk there, even though this planet is like 10 times larger than the last planet they were on. so Star Wars is one of the few things I'll give a pass on that. I'm watching a show with my little brother, and they're shooting guns and stuff, and I'm like, where are the shell casings? The ejection port's not even like launching any shell casings. And he's like, imagine they're there. He was so dumb with me. It doesn't help I be like predicting like the plots to movies. We'll be watching something and I'm like, you know what? That's probably his aunt or something. And then it'll happen. And he's like, you need to stop predicting movies. And I'm like, it's just the story beat, you know? That's naturally, like, it feels like it was setting that up. You know, it's like from the beginning of the movie, it's like, oh, you know, my dad has like a gun in the safe. And it's like, why would you say that? Are we gonna see that later? That was kind of random. I feel like we're gonna see that gun by the end of the movie. And then I'm just thinking about it the whole time until they get it. And I'm like, oh, there's the gun in the safe. Foreshadowing, yes. Foreshadowing is good, but sometimes it's so hand-fisted. Like, if it doesn't feel natural, it feels like it sticks out too much. And then I know I'm waiting. And it's also distracting because I'm waiting and I'm like, are they gonna find the shotgun in the shed like before? Wow, what a pain this one was to color. He's just about done. I'm just touching up little white spots. We could hit him with a little gray on his eyes too. But I don't want to go too crazy because I don't want to mess up the compound eye effect. All right. Implanted information. I like that. Implanted information. Alright, I'm just looking it over, seeing what I got here. Let's do a darker blue on this little piece here, just because that's further back. Just to push that back. Alright, cool. Alright, quality, what do you say? Black background? Now that we're looking at it? Hmm. Yes, let's do it. Okay, so if we're gonna do black, I gotta finish this here. Cutting it close. We don't want to touch the finger. We don't want any tangents. Okay. So that's a little sloppy here, but that's okay because we're doing black. So let's get in with my Japanese brush pen, if I can find where I put it. Oh, here it is. Very rich black ink. Or gray. I think black will have like a nice dark vibe. Gray could have been cool too. Let's grab, we'll do 3 for these little gaps. I think that's one of the fun thing about black is I could get in these gaps here. And that could help with carving out the form a little bit more. Okay. Oh, I missed a spot here. Yeah, I think black was a really smart idea, especially because of all these little gaps. Kind of gets rid of that negative space. Let's grab this marker brush so we can get these larger areas. Move some of these markers out of my way. Do I have a brush point? Let me see. I think I do. I do. Let's use this one first to bulk out. I think I gained a newfound respect for art when I took an art history class way back in the day. It had a lasting impression on me and how I view things. Especially, yeah, when you're thinking about stuff like, you know, these paintings and things like that, or even sculptures that these people were making with like limited stuff, materials, and even just like the canvases and stuff. Like they're just like stretching out the canvases over, and it's not like they went to Michael's and just picked up on supplies or colors not existing, or you know how they made their pigments and squishing bugs and stuff like that. And or even the sculpture, and it's like you mess up a sculpture and it's like, oh, that's it. And it's not like they can go on like Google, watch a YouTube tutorial. So they can't really switch up their style so soon, you know, so simply. As far as like classical kind of old school artists like that, I really like Bosch. Hieronymus Bosch. Lighting, compositions. Yeah, they really had to eyeball that though, because like they were doing that from life, and then it's like they would have to come back in sessions. It's not like you had photograph, you know, references to work off of, which is really funny if you look at medieval art. Some of these guys never seen certain animals, and they were just working off descriptions, and it's the funniest thing ever. Especially like whales look really cool. They make them look so fishy. But even like things like the architecture, like Gothic architecture, and like how they figured out the weight distribution, like the optimal weight distribution, and they can like make these huge, tall cathedrals. I was actually thinking about that the other day, as far as like, you know, what we talked about before with the, you know, they're kind of trailblazers. They don't really have anyone else to look to, really. And if they did, you know, it's kind of just whoever's within proximity. All right, he's just about done. I think he's finished. Seeing it with the black, it's hard to picture any other color. I'm glad we went with the black. Thank you so much for that suggestion. You definitely have an eye for it. An eye for style and that what that looks like. You think they just threw the golden ratio into everything? Everything kind of has the golden ratio though, if you look at like plants and stuff. For me, I really like the rule of thirds. And then I kind of think about the golden ratio a little bit. Okay, let me just get some of these little areas. I'll sign these cards. That's my favorite part, because it's like signing them off. They're finished. It's the final step. And then we'll head on out of here. What time is it for you, Quality? For me, it is 3:55. It's about to be 4 a.m. This live went on a little bit longer. I think I'll leave these little highlights, this rim highlights on them, kind of make them pop out a little bit. Yes, definitely look that up. It's really funny. Sometimes they draw like dogs with human faces. It's so goofy. Very, very what, Kaylee? Very long. The slide went on very long. Made the dream happen. Thank you. It's one over here. Okay, so you're probably like in West Coast. All right, let me take a sip of my drink. Typically, when I mail cards out, people get them within like a week. I'll show you while I have you. Let's see. These are like the Patreon cards, and I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just showing you what these look like. But these are the cards that I do on my Patreon, and these are my own characters. And so basically, I have like a $10 tier, and then I lightbox these and I redraw them for people. And then the $15 tier, I color them. $3 tier, you get to just see, like artwork, exclusive stuff, early access to announcements and projects and sketchbook drawings and work in progress. I don't like to really take work in progress too much because I'm like, it's not finished. And then there's the free stuff, which is just, me posting artwork or, posting things I like food and things like that, kind of treating it like a blog. So that's the Patreon stuff. So this is the Liberator. He's the main character of my series, Dead Liberty. Here's some other characters. There's like ninjas. That's Massacre. He's a super soldier. That's Blood Hunt. So Blood Hunt's another comic I have within the universe of Dead Liberty. So he's like if you take Batman, Punisher, and Judge Dredd, and Captain America's Strength and kind of put them all in a blender. But he's Black Ops, so he doesn't really cross paths with the Dead Liberty characters, but they're in the same world. That's the leader of the Radicals, who's the antagonistic force. There he is with his helmet. So this is like a mask and then a helmet for battle. That's Wraith. He's one of my favorites. He's a ninja. Here's some other guys. And then this is my Nadir Archive series. This is my sci-fi war, like much more futuristic. It's a different universe, so you don't have to buy anything from Dead Liberty or read that to know what's happening in the free-to-read series. But this is more sci-fi stuff. Well, both of them are sci-fi, but this one has like space stuff. There's no space stuff in Dead Liberty. But there's no superheroes in this series. So here are some of the trooper classes. So we have the rifleman. Here's like the scout variant. Here's the heavy. Here's the Mark 1, so fire support. Here's the sniper. This is the aerial assault, so they can also be seen as pilots, jetpacks. Here's like spec ops, covert ops. These are some of the rebels, so they kind of like have their own kind of spin on some of the armors or mix and matching armors like out of uniform. Here's one guy, he's like a cyborg. Here's a doctor. Those are mini spoilers. And then there's my medieval series, which will be a comic at some point too, but right now they're going to be trading cards that will be a story set. And here's some of the stuff in the medieval series, some knights, skeleton guy, age-old knight, and goblin, another type of goblin. I think I called it a mountain goblin. Yeah, orc. So orc with a helmet, cyclops, giant, and then some lizard people. So here's like 3 different types. Lizard people are kind of like my main monster, where typical fantasy will often like have goblins and orcs. While I did put them in as considerations, and I did kind of have fun with them, the lizard people are kind of my main threat versus like orcs and goblins, as you would see in other things like that. So do your demons make it into this universe? Yes. I'm gonna answer that and try not to spoil, but the way I treat demons, they're something outside of time and space. And so while these 3 sets I showed you are different universes, demons would exist in this unseen kind of realm. So depending on certain circumstances, a demon could come into the world. And so I treat demons the same way across my universes. Something like the medieval series, we may be more likely to see demons because of circumstances that kind of cause this world to be outside of the plan. And that's how it's kind of like a medieval world. Like something happened that kind of shook the fabric of reality, and that's why we have like things like this, dragons and creatures like that. And it's very spiritual in nature, because it's like that wasn't supposed to happen, and we're not supposed to have like dragons and things like that flying around, wyverns and things. So the heavens kind of have to take a more hands-on approach and kind of like basically divine intervention, or Dios Machina. And so there is a very spiritual element in that medieval series. Demons could be like summoned and stuff like that, and that could really change the way things go. Now, unfortunately, my comics take a long ass time to draw. One, I'm always working with other jobs and stuff like that, but my comics take so long to draw, and the backgrounds take so long, and I have like insane OCD where I just constantly just working on hatching every single thing in sight in the backgrounds and stuff. So that's a pain in the ass. Oh, before I go, I should sign these cards. Yeah, let's sign them and then we'll wrap up here. I was about to leave without signing them. It's my favorite part. But yeah, so that's how I would do that. The demons are some of my favorite stuff to write, but those are kind of like end game type stuff, and I'm not even at the tip of the iceberg with the work, how much work I got. Oh, look how nice this one came out with the background, the blues, and I really like the colors bleeding through. All right, so let's get the fun part. Chisel Sharpie. And then I'll put these guys in sleeves. I don't know if I'll do that today. I still have to take pictures and stuff, and then I'll just have to take them out of his sleeves. And it's 4 o'clock. Oh my god, I gotta get out of here. Okay. I love how it looks with the chisel Sharpie, because it kind of has this taper to it. Some of the lines are sharper and thicker in certain areas. So that's finished. And that one's finished. Boom. Done and dusted. Oops. Okay. We got the graveyard green, I like to say. When do you normally stream? I typically go live 12 a.m. Eastern time. When I work, it was only going live over the weekend. But now that the school year is over, I can go live more often. I'm going to try to go live every day. It'll be a matter of what platform, whether I'm going on TikTok or YouTube. So on our Discord, I'll let us know when I'm, what platform I'm going on, or if I'm running late. So Discord link is in the description if anyone wants to join that. We have the coolest people on Discord sharing their artwork, doing fan art, getting updates on my projects, or just making connections. I always get a little bit scared when I am signing them. I'm like, what if I accidentally do the letters too close or off the page, or, you know, how do I fix that? Let's not find out. And the last one. I spelled the name wrong. Yeah. Alrighty, so these are done. Again, for anyone who might be rewatching this after I've uploaded this and somehow got to the end, or anyone who might just drop in, which I doubt, people are probably sleeping. These will be on eBay. I'll be posting this wave 3 of Spider-Man cards. I will be branching out from Spider-Man at some point too. I have other ones drawn from different Marvel stuff. So thank you so much, Quality, and thank you so much for dropping in. Thank you again for you know, buying so many cards and being here, going the extra mile, not just buying the cards, but even watching me work on some of the other ones and following me on my stuff, and no pressure, but hopefully read one of my free to read series. No pressure, but you've done enough. Thank you so much. All right, guys, so this is where we end it. I'll try to go live tomorrow. I'm deciding YouTube or TikTok, maybe a vote. We'll see what I do. So how should we end? Should we end on Spider-Man? Should we end? I predict that this one would probably get bids, and Spider Carnage and maybe the Spider-Man. I feel like those are going to be the first to go. Let's get them all in the picture. Let's get the group shot. Even if they get covered. You know what? Chameleon, you could get covered. I don't think. I'm not a huge Chameleon fan. It was just easy to draw, and he kind of looks cool. All right, there we go. Group photo. Oh, wait, I can zoom out. Sorry, Chameleon. Because you can't be in here. Yeah. Okay. It's not covered. Prowler. There we go. There we go. Oh, that's a thumbnail. Maybe that'll be my thumbnail. Maybe. We'll see if it lets me. Or I'll just take a photo. All right. Yeah, everybody. Move in. All right, whatever. I can't. Wow, very long live. All right. I think everyone else is sleeping. I think it's just you and me, Quality. All right, guys. Thank you so much again. As always, keep working on the things that you like to do. Thank you so much for all your support, watching my stuff, sharing my lives, sharing my comics, whatever you do to help. It's more helpful than you can ever imagine. And I want to encourage you guys to keep working on the things that you like to do. Don't give up on it. Whatever it is. It doesn't have to be art. As long as it makes you happy and you're not hurting anyone, that's justification enough to do it. So, as always, make it because it doesn't exist, and do it because you love it. Enjoy the rest of your night, and good night, Spectres.